Hey everyone, today I'm gonna do the Pride Flag book tag. This tag was created by Spencer from Common Spence, and I will leave a link to his original video down below. I'd highly encourage you to watch it because he also has an intro where he talks about the history of the Pride flag, which is very, very interesting. And he has created questions that are all linked to the colors and the meanings of the Pride flag that you answer with queer books or queer protagonists. And I just thought this was a really, really great idea for Pride Month. And so I thought I'd join in with the fun and do this tag today. The first question is Red Life, a book with a spirited protagonist totally proud of who they are, someone who gives you life. For this one, I'm going with Emmy from The Brightsiders, but also basically every character in The Brightsiders. It is really a book that just makes you feel so proud of who you are and so proud of being a part of the queer community. Emmy comes out to the world as bisexual in the course of this book, and she is always proud of being bi, but especially after coming out, there's just so much like projecting that into the whole world. And it's not only Emmy, it's also all of the other characters basically in here, especially seeing the people in here that are genderqueer or non-binary, seeing them kind of being so proud of who they are and just celebrating it and being so like open and just proud about it. Oh, so good. It feels so good. Gives me life, definitely. Orange is Healing, a book that made you as the reader find a deeper meaning or catharsis in your own life. And I know I talked about this book a lot in the last couple of weeks, but I absolutely have to mention Would You Rather by Katie Haney. This is a non-fiction book. It is a memoir about a woman who has only realized that she's queer in her late 20s. And it was the most relatable book that I have ever read in my life. And it was so good to come to terms with a couple of things that I kind of knew, but that someone else had to tell me, that someone else had to say, oh, I went through that too. This book it changed my life, and I'm just so thankful. Yellow is Sunshine, a book that fills you with so much joy it could brighten even your darkest day. For this one, I've decided to go with a book that maybe is not like the first thing you would think of if you think of like happy or fluffy, but The Abyss Surrounds Us is a book that is really short and fast-paced, and knowing that all of the angst turns out well makes me happy. So even though, as I said, this does have like angst and it is definitely not like a happy, fluffy book, just the angst in it is what makes me happy, okay? Like it just gives me a satisfying feeling, especially knowing it all turns out good. That's just how I work, okay? Green is Nature, a book that is set out of this world, a reality different to our own. And for this question, I could not help it. I had to go with Ink Mistress by Audrey Coulthurst. This features a bi protagonist and it starts with a female-female romance, but the main romance is a female-male romance. And the whole world is very non-heteronormative. There's a couple of other ones that might feature some more, representation, some more diversity, but this book is just so good, and the bi rep is just so wonderful, and it just fills my heart with so much joy. It is wonderful, and I want everybody to read this. Oh my god, it's so good. Blue stands for Peace, a book where one of the characters finds peace with a difficult truth. There's no other way but to go with Ramona Blue by Julie Murphy. I think a lot of people, when they first criticized it, before anybody had read the book anyway, they were kind of criticizing it for something that is just not the case at all. I know a book about a lesbian falling in love with a guy is a complicated thing, but Ramona has so much struggle coming to terms with the fact that she's falling in love with a boy herself. She is realizing how shitty that situation is. She felt so comfortable in her identity. She felt so comfortable with her sexual and romantic attraction. She never even considered anything different. The fact that she falls in love with a boy is so hard for her. She struggles so much with realizing that. She struggles so much with realizing that lesbian might not be the label that she feels so comfortable with and that really fits her identity. And she has so many things that she has to come to terms to. She has to really struggle and fight against her friendship group who are not really accepting of that. And she just deals with so much crap in here. The fact that people want to undermine this is disgusting to me. And I get that in certain cases this can be a complicated experience to read, and I'm totally like aware of that and I totally understand that. But the fact that this book still gets like shit, even though it is so important as like questioning representation, it just makes me mad. And I just think this book is incredibly underrated simply because people were not ready to give a questioning protagonist a chance. It makes me so fucking mad. And finally, we have Purple, which stands for Spirit, a book that deals with LGBTQ plus themes and religion. And for this one, I'm gonna go with Dress Codes for Small Towns by Courtney Stevens. This is a book that is just a whole bunch of questioning of sexuality, romantic attraction, of gender, but it also deals with the protagonist growing up in a super religious family. I don't really think it shows a lot of like struggles of, you know, being a religious person, but also being like queer. It's not really focused on that. I think the topics are kind of separate from each other in a way, but it's definitely a book that deals with both topics, and I think it deals with both topics very, very well. And in general, this is just a wonderful queer book that I'd highly recommend. This is probably the most underrated one from this whole list. It's so great, and also really, really wonderful if you want some like general questioning representation. This is my recommendation for you. Anyway, this was the Pride Flag book tag. Let me know if you have any specific answers or recommendations for any of these questions. I would love to know. I'm gonna tag Kevin from Irish Reader and Maddie and B. I would love to see your answers and recommendations for this tag. And thank you so much for watching, and I guess I'll see you soon. Bye!